So I'm just doing this recording kind of off the rip. I don't know. I graduate tomorrow, and I want this recording to be for me in the future, I guess. I don't know. I have just impulsive things, but I feel like I get asked a lot since I'm graduating, like tomorrow, is how do I feel? Am I excited? Am I anxious? Is it bittersweet? And the thing is, I'm not anxious. I'm not excited. I'm not necessarily glad to be done with high school, but I'm not going to miss it either. I just feel like nothing. I feel like a lot of it, if that makes any sense, right? I never really did great in school, but like I tried. I feel like another thing I'm always asked is going forward, what am I gonna do? I have ideas, I have concepts of a plan, but I don't know. I think I might go into IT or tech support. I don't think I'd enjoy it necessarily, but I think I'd be okay at it. I don't think there'd be any job really that I would enjoy. I feel like people who have jobs they enjoy are lucky, but I don't think that I'm going to be one of those people. I feel like I'm just going to be another wage cuck, you know? But I know that IT field has been successful-ish for my brothers. So maybe I'll do that, but I don't know. I don't know if I am I looking into this field because it's something that I want to pursue, or is it something I feel like is my best option? I feel like I don't have any aspirations really. I feel like the current state of the world doesn't really help the housing market and all that. Like when my grandpa was just starting a family, right, having all that stuff, he had a job, UPS. Using that being the main source of funds, he was able to get a house, a decent sized house. And you can't really do that anymore. If I got like two buddies and all of us had above minimum wage jobs, say me and like three other people, all say 17 an hour, which is a bit over minimum wage, we would not be able to afford a home. We would probably be able to afford rent for an apartment, but that's not the intention of minimum wage initially was supposed to be for people to sustain themselves and a family. And that's not really what's going to happen. I feel like realistically, I don't think I've talked to people like my brothers and people of older generations who say they're sorry for my generation, but it only extends further, really. So my life is kind of fucked going forward because of the way, not just the economy but the environment, but it's going to be more so for like my sister's kids, for anyone really who is younger, and there's not really anything that can be done about it at this point. If I were to be an activist for the absolute rest of my life, and I were to dedicate every single penny I ever earned, I don't think I could do anything. I really don't. But I don't think anybody really is. I feel like my best bet as an individual is to hope for a civil war that goes in the citizens' favor. But when I look towards the future for myself as an individual, I don't know where I'm going to be in 10 years. Right. That's when I'm applying for a job, per se. That is a very common question. Where do you envision yourself in 10 years? And honestly, I don't know, right? I don't think I'll still be living with my parents, but it's not impossible. I don't know what I'll do, right? And another thing is, my future is going to be very different from my peers around me, because my parents are relatively old for a parent of a child my age. Most of my friends' parents are maybe late 30s, mid to late 30s, maybe early 40s. But my dad is, I believe, 69, something like that. And it's not unrealistic that by the time I turn 30, it's not impossible that one of them would have died. And for whatever reason, I don't like that possibility. It's weird, I know. But going forward, that's not impossible. My mom lost both of her parents, but that happened when she was mid to late 50s. But by the time that she is her parents' age, when they passed away, I'd be early 30s, I think. And it's not unrealistic that something would happen. And that's not even taking into account natural accidents, right? A car crash. You can't anticipate a car crash. And so in the future, I don't know what I would do. Maybe I would just inherit this house and maybe do that, but it doesn't seem realistic for one reason or another. And I don't know. Will I maybe move in with my brother? I don't know. Would I be a burden onto his household, right? And the questions like this further compound when I take into account I have a critter now, right? I have a little critter named Remy. She's amazing, right? She's sleeping behind me. But that only throws more questions into 10 years from now. I will take care of her, and I love her. But the logistics of that, I don't know. At the end of the day, no one would really know. Slightly, this is off topic, but I love my parents, and I love my sister. I do not understand religion. It's what I was saying a moment ago. I love my parents, right? I love my sister, right? And it takes something kind of big for that to be different, right? But I don't think I will ever see eye to eye with religion. it makes them happy, and it makes millions of others happy. And I can see that is, I feel like that is a benefit. I don't think that it would be hard to argue that aspect anyway. But I don't know if there is anything out there, right? At the end of the day, right? If I got a kid, say I got like a 2-year-old daughter, named her Megan, right? And she got leukemia. Like I got a 2-year-old kid who's gonna fucking die. That's not fun, right? When everyone who's religious and is close to me and cares about Megan, I think that's what I named her. Everyone who cares about her is gonna be giving thoughts and prayers, right? God, please save Megan, right? But the second she dies from cancer, it's all part of his plan. And I just don't, it doesn't make sense to me why that would be the case. I feel like if a godlike entity were to exist, I don't think he knows about us. If he does, he has a very loose knowledge of us. Because, considering the universe, I've been reading about astrology and stuff like that, right? But there's roughly like 100,000 stars in our galaxy, and there's, I believe, 2 trillion galaxies. Are we the only one that he made life of? And is he only accepting prayers from us? I don't understand that. Right? I feel like even if there is a God and he does hear our prayers, I don't think he's gonna do anything. This is not an original thought. I'm stealing this because I saw this the other day, but I feel like I had the same belief as what I saw. And a prayer to a god would very likely just be like my dog begging for boiling water on the stove. If that makes any sense. It just, I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, it makes them happy, and I'm glad that their lives are better off because of it. I feel like there's definitely an inverse that in some points where I feel like that religion has definitely hurt many people's lives. A lot of homophobia and racism have been attributed or started from religion. And it's not entirely the case still, granted. But almost every war, the majority of wars ever, can be attributed to religion in one way or another. Be it the Crusades, be it Gaza, I believe, is just a lot of things, really. And, like, religion is what causes the fact that, like, if in the Middle East, if you're a boy kisser, you're gonna get beheaded. Obviously, that's a generalization, but it's not entirely wrong. And I feel like that's the problem. I feel like there's just so much I don't know. Right. I feel like I'm talking big shit, right? Like, I know everything, but I definitely don't. I feel like I know everything that I know, but in the end of the day, there's just so much I don't know that I will never know. Through my life, I'll probably learn some more stuff, and that's neat, but it feels futile, if that makes any sense. Shucks. I feel like, what am I wanting to do going forward? What is the point? What is my goal in life? And realistically, I think it's just to make it day to day. Like, I don't know. At this point in my life, I don't know if I would say I'm depressed. I definitely used to be. But I definitely don't think I'm happy. I'm just kind of hanging out. I feel like the antidepressants work-ish. I don't feel like anything, really. I don't feel awful. I don't feel great. I don't feel melancholic. I don't feel bittersweet. I just feel nothing. And a lot of it. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's an intense feeling of nothing. I don't know if this is a normal thing, if I'm just being a schizo. I'm probably just being a schizo. I mean, yeah. I mean, I am the one who's just talking to myself in my room at like 1 a.m. But I just felt like I needed to say something to my future self, to others in my situation, to anything. I just needed to say something. I graduate tomorrow, and I don't feel anything. It's something I've worked on daily for 12, 13 years. And it should be a big moment, realistically. My family is celebrating it, but it just doesn't feel like anything to me. Realistically, it's definitely a turning point in my life, but I don't know what is going to change. I recently got a car. I enjoy the car. It's a decent car. And it gives me a new degree of freedom I didn't have prior. That's fun. But I was asked a couple times, how does it feel to own a car? I feel the same. Right. When I turned 18, I became a legal adult. I can legally smoke cigarettes. I can legally buy Zyn. I can legally sell my body and soul to the government as bullet fodder. But people asked me, how does it feel to be an adult? And I jokingly said, it was a common response I did. I jokingly said, it feels the same, but with the oncoming threat of taxes. And I say that as a joke, but it's kind of not. I just feel the same.